Wait, am I on the right? Okay, I'm on the right account. Hey everyone, I was not planning on going live, which is obvious by the fit or the lack thereof. I'm about to go work out, but there is so much going on right now. Hi, thank you for joining. There's so much going on right now that I was like, there's no way I just can't come on really, really quickly to talk about it, because I have realized how this can probably overwhelm some people. The energy is so insane that I wanted to come in really quickly and just kind of give a little brief synopsis on what's going on. So if you feel overwhelmed, if you feel like, oh my God, there's so much going on, here's a little bit about why. Today is the first full moon of 2021, but this is not the tree falling down. This is one of the most intense full moons we're going to collectively experience in the entire year. So if you're feeling overwhelmed by it, if you're feeling drained yet motivated, all these like opposing emotions, know that that is totally normal, and I'm going to explain why. I have my notes here because I'm writing it for tonight's event. If you're in South Florida, definitely come. But Mars, which is the planet of action, of war, of forward drive, of masculine argumentative energy, is conjunct Uranus, which is the planet of change, of rebellion, and they're both in the sign of Taurus, which is a sign that denotes, stubbornness. They're very fixed, right? And so that conjunction is square at the Sun, Jupiter, and what is the last one? Saturn, of course. So obviously the Sun being our identity, being the way that we move forward, Uranus being, I'm sorry, not Uranus. You see how my mind is all crazy, girl? Jupiter, the planet of expansion, and Saturn, the planet of limitation. They are in the sign of Aquarius, which is the sign of rebellion, of change. And so I probably lost you at some point during that sentence, but I say all of that to say there are so many opposing energies that are very intense, that are very catastrophic, yet uphold this idea of like rebuilding, that if we can easily be overwhelmed by this. As above, so below, right? So we're seeing how this is playing out collectively. I don't know if you guys are following what's going on with like Wall Street versus the people and the people versus Wall Street, but it is very much aligned with what's going on, especially with Aquarius, right? Aquarius wants change. Aquarius wants the truth to be sort of put on this forward pedestal so that we can break it down and rebuild it. And that is the same energy that can be playing out personally right now. So understand that if you are feeling extremely motivated yet confined, if you're feeling like you need to tear up all of the tiles and replace it, if you're feeling like you need to get everything done and don't know how to move forward, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you feel like I need to change this yet I also have no energy to, that is perfectly aligned with what's going on, because this full moon is making a T-square with all of these insane aspects. So I'm going to talk about this a bit deeper tonight at the Dancing Lion event, but I wanted just to come on here and say that relax as much as you can. Let go of perhaps a hamster wheel you put yourself on. Let go of expectation. This is a beautiful time. Use this transit to declutter, right? Because we can be so overstimulated right now. We can uphold us to expectations that aren't probably even serving us, right? We can want to make rash decisions right now. So it's really, really important that we be as mindful as we possibly can with our decisions. Oh, it's no worries, don't worry. But you want to be mindful as you possibly can, and make sure that you're not operating from a place of ego, from a place of pride, because Leo can do that. Instead, working with this moon, in order to cultivate as much peace and centeredness as possible, you want to play, right? Play is what rejuvenates us. So trying to let go of like this expectation we're putting on ourselves because of all of this like planetary pressure, and just coming back to like doing things that are mindless and for the sheer sake of joy. I say this all the time, but Leo is the planet of drama and the planet of play. So the sign of drama and play. You see how Mercury retrograde? I'll talk about that too. But really coming back to play, and also coming back to self-confidence, decluttering. That's what I wanted to say, decluttering. This is the first full moon of the year. Full moons are all about releasing, about letting go. And so you want to make sure that you are using this transit to declutter your mind, your physical space, your relationships, and I think what's most important is our attachments, right? Really releasing attachment, because especially with the way that Saturn is playing out, we can be feeling really pressured to pour ourselves into attachment to outcome, right? Attachment to how we want things to go, attachment to what we expect of ourselves. And so it's very important that we release and declutter the mind and surrender back to how things are meant to play out, knowing that we don't have as much control on how, we just have control on what we desire and how we take those steps towards it. But there's so much pressure planetarily that it's like, you just need to come back to yourself, come back to play, come back to what is tangible. I cannot stress enough. I mean, this Mars conjunct Uranus in Taurus, squaring the Sun, Jupiter, and Saturn, conjunct in Aquarius. Like, this is just so overwhelming, and I think the way that it's playing out collectively is so insane. So just making sure that on a personal level, you are really honoring yourself by clearing your space, clearing your mind, playing, taking the pressure off, realizing that this hamster wheel you may have put yourself on is completely self-induced, right? We are abiding by expectations that we have put on ourselves when in reality, we can just relax. It's okay to relax. I don't know if there's anything else that I wanted to say, but yeah, especially with all of this emphasis on Aquarius, you really want to come back to community, come back to a higher purpose. I think when we can get, with so much air fixation right now, we can be really trapped in our heads and we can be trapped in our minds and we can be overthinking things. So it's really important right now that we come back to the aerial view of things and we come back to seeing, okay, how am I, in the small actions that I am taking, somehow serving the collective or showing up for my small community, showing up for my friends, showing up for my family, because that is going to bring back the purpose. That is going to take you out of your mind, out of the overwhelming sense of like, what am I doing and how can I make sure that what I am doing is serving my highest good, because it can be overwhelming right now. So I say all of that to say, if you're feeling overwhelmed, oh yeah, Mercury retrograde. So Mercury retrograde, we've been in the shadow period for 2 weeks. So we've 100% been already feeling the effects of this. If you haven't had people from your past resurfacing or a lot of stagnancy, a lot of technological breakdowns already, I would be shocked. But if you haven't already, you will be experiencing this starting the 30th of January until I believe the 20th of Feb. And it's in the sign of Aquarius as well. It's really just, I think what's really important about this, hi Jess, thank you for joining. I think what's really important about this retrograde is just being, is coming back to community, decluttering once again. Aquarius is all about, it's the humanitarian sign. So it's making sure that we are really, 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 when we use this time to re-edit, rework, and reevaluate and revise what we're doing with our energy, we want to come back to what is the core of it, what is our mission statements, and making sure that those mission statements uphold something greater than ourselves, right? Because if it is only to be self-serving, it's good to be self-centered, right? It is good to be walking in alignment with what is best for you. However, you're going to be drained if you are the only well that you are feeding. So you want to make sure that with this Mercury retrograde that you take the time to sit back and that you get clear on what your mission statement is. Why is it that I'm doing what I'm doing? Why is it that I'm pouring my energy into whatever I'm pouring my energy to, and making sure that it's something greater than yourself? Because even though we can feel isolated and we can feel like we are operating on our own islands, we are all part of something bigger than ourselves, which is why I think this like Wall Street versus the people thing is so insane, because it's exactly in alignment with what the energy is right now, which is once again very chaotic. But yeah, this Mercury retrograde is coming up. Stay strong. If any old relationships resurface, use your discernment. I think discernment is a really, really, really important word right now. Discerning what closure actually is and discerning what is just meant to be bid farewell, really. But yeah, so in summation, take yourself off the hamster wheel that you may have put yourself on. Give yourself grace, relax as much as you possibly can, because like I said, this pressure is so overwhelming. It's like we're in pressure cookers. I mean, these like planetary alignments, and they're all in the sign of Aquarius, so we can be really cerebral right now. So I think Leo is calling us back to what is body, what is physical. So dancing, playing, doing things that are just unconditional. And yeah, I legit can't stop eating and sleeping. Oh my God, it's because we're trying to weigh ourselves back down because of the fact that Aquarius is air, right? So Aquarius is all about cerebral mind, going out of body, seeing things as aerial. And while that can feed us in terms of like collective perspective, it can also overwhelm us in terms of like our physical bodies, right? So we want to make sure that we feel grounded. And that's why I'm really glad that we're having this placement in Leo, this fire placement, because it's going to bring us back to like, okay, what does like being here in this like 3D realm feel like? Because I've been way too 5D. So if you've been eating, if you've been sleeping, if you've been tired, if you've been drained, that is so normal. There's so much going on. I cannot stress it enough. But you know, this really like catastrophic energy, I have no other word for it. And I don't want that to be like negatively denoted, because this change is really, really important. This change is so important. This shift is so important. So it's making sure that we understand that. I want to eat and pass out all day. And that's what you should do. I think it's really important that we serve ourselves grace, because like I said, we're operating under really, really special circumstances. Also know that January is almost over. February is going to be not a walk in the park, but, you know, expansive and transformative. But afterwards, we will be able to breathe some sort of sighs of relief. So if you've been feeling overwhelmed or drained, you're not alone. You should be, especially if you have any major placements in fixed signs, so Taurus, Scorpio, Aquarius, or Leo, in your sun, moon, rising, also Mercury, Mercury as well. If you have any placements there, you're really going to be feeling this. There's a lot of like truth exposure as well. Things are really being brought to the surface right now. Truths being admitted to yourself, truths from external sources, and needs to. Everything that's rising right now is to be removed, to be re-edited, revised, all of that. So just walk alongside this energy. You're not alone. I really needed like to come on here because I was like, this is so insane, and I know that many people may be feeling overwhelmed by it. Not in the walk in the park, perhaps a steady jog. February is going to be a bit, we have some squares going on, but like there's nothing like today. I just, once again, before I end this, I need to just say, Mars, the planet of action and war, is conjunct Uranus, the planet of change and rebellion, in the sign of Taurus, which is so fixed. It's squaring the sun, our identity, our drive, and which is conjunct Jupiter, the planet of expansion, and Saturn, the planet of limitation and restriction, in the sign of Aquarius, which is humanity and change, right? So we want to move forward so badly, and yet we're overwhelmed with how we are going to do it. And that can really trap you in your mind. So it's important to come back to body. It's important to give yourself grace. It's important to walk knowing that you are part of something bigger than yourself, and that we're all under this. So breathe a sigh of relief. Take the time to declutter your mind, your space, your relationships, and your attachments to outcome, and know that we're going to be okay. We're getting through this time together. And yeah, if you're in South Florida, I would invite you to come to the Dancing Night event that I will be hosting with Jess, my queen, my Reiki master, alongside an incredible tarot reader and some other cool people. So that's all, but walk with grace. I am sending you all my love and support, and that is all. Bye.